Meghan needed something. The week had gone so wrong for Harry, most notably the court case, because she would have been at the Invictus Games, I'm pretty sure, launch on Friday, if it had gone well.
Harry and Meghan Markle's American dream is apparently officially over.
Harry does have an interest elsewhere, and you notice I say if, and I do so for legal reasons. And you also notice for legal reasons, I haven't said that he's having an affair with this woman.
Harry just is unable to do at this point because he's so wrapped up in Meghan's world.
Everything suddenly seemed to unravel. Reports claimed Meghan came across text messages that raised difficult questions, leading to speculation that Harry may have been thinking about this situation for months. But then the story took another unexpected turn. New allegations also claimed he may have been linked to several controversies over the years. Because of that, some people began arguing he wasn't simply a victim of the situation, but may have played a much bigger part than many first believed. Those claims quickly sparked even more debate. According to these reports, the story started with something that seemed completely ordinary.
Just completely chaotic, and I'm scared for his future, to be quite honest. It just seems like a rough shot. We don't know what is going to happen.
A phone was sitting on a table when a notification suddenly appeared. At first, it looked like just another message from an unfamiliar contact. Most people might not have paid much attention, but reports claim Meghan decided to check it anyway. What she allegedly found reportedly caught her completely off guard. It wasn't said to be just one message or a handful of random chats. Instead, reports claimed there were months of conversations with a woman, including personal discussions, future plans, and messages about how life could look different someday. Some of the reported texts even mentioned hoping for more freedom and eventually starting a new chapter in life. To many people following the story, those reported messages painted a very different picture.
Duchess Games organisers delighted that one Meghan Markle didn't show up for the big one-year countdown in Birmingham.
Some believed they suggested someone who may have emotionally moved on long before everything became public, although those interpretations remain based on claims rather than confirmed facts. Sources reportedly familiar with the situation claimed these weren't viewed as random conversations or simple mistakes. Instead, they were described as intentional, carefully timed, and part of something that had allegedly developed over a much longer period. According to reports and ongoing speculation, Harry was allegedly spending time with another woman during periods when Meghan believed he was attending meetings.
It's absolutely appalling. He doesn't know, and how can he make a judgment like that? I mean, the Justice Nicklin is a very well-known, careful.
Those claims quickly caught people's attention and added another layer to the growing controversy. At the same time, reports claimed he continued encouraging Meghan to keep working on their marriage while they appeared together in public and presented a united front. Supporters of these allegations argued that his private life was being kept completely separate from the image seen by everyone else, making the situation seem even more dramatic. The reported identity of the woman also became a major talking point. Instead of being described as someone he had only recently met, reports claimed she was well known around Montecito, close to his age, and someone he had reportedly known for quite a while. According to those same claims, she was already familiar with parts of his social circle and understood the circumstances surrounding his life.
He couldn't even just show up to be in the background, to not make a fuss, to just be low maintenance.
Commentator Lady C was among those who publicly discussed these allegations, saying they were consistent with what had reportedly been found on the phone. Her remarks fueled even more public discussion, although the claims remain unverified. According to the reports and commentary surrounding the story, the alleged relationship was described as more than a brief connection. Reports claimed it involved ongoing conversations, personal feelings, and discussions about what the future might look like. Those same reports also alleged that Meghan was deeply upset after learning about the messages. Rather than remaining silent, she reportedly confronted Harry and demanded answers. Who is this woman? How long has this been going on? Why? How could you do this? According to the reports, those questions came one after another as emotions reportedly ran high. According to the claims being discussed, Harry's reported response only made the situation even more tense. Reports alleged that he didn't directly deny the accusations, but they also claimed he didn't respond with a dramatic apology or openly ask for forgiveness either.
You also notice, for legal reasons, I haven't said that he's having an affair with this woman, nor have I said that he's having a post-marital or anything affair with this woman.
Instead, some accounts described him as acting as though Meghan's concerns were an overreaction. According to those reports, what affected her most wasn't only the alleged relationship itself, but what she reportedly saw as a lack of empathy, accountability, and respect for everything they had built together. Those allegations quickly became another major point of debate. Many people following the story also argued that this shouldn't be viewed as a completely separate incident.
It's a surprise and not a surprise, because we knew things weren't going well, but to finally have even more confirmation of how badly things are going, even more confirmation of how badly Harry wants back in, just goes to show and prove that Harry and Meghan leaving was a massive mistake, probably led by Meghan, that Harry really didn't consider. And as they get to Hollywood, they're finding out that, well, maybe the industry is interested in you for a couple of moments here and there.
Supporters of these claims believed it fit into a much larger pattern of controversies that have been discussed for years. Others disagreed, pointing out that these allegations remain unverified and continue to be the subject of public debate. Even so, the reports sparked strong reactions across social media. As the story spread online, one particular comment received significant attention. Reports claimed it gathered around 2,300 likes, with many people pointing to it as an example of how divided public opinion had become. The comment stated, "We surely cannot blame Meghan Markle alone. If she faked her pregnancies, then Harry too was complicit, and as a prince, he too is completely malicious also."
I said a day or two ago, I don't remember exactly when I said it, it's a rerun of the whole Charles and Diana saga, where Diana was leaking like a sieve by Paul Dacre's own account and Richard Kay's and the late David English's at the time. She leaked to the press with a facility that only Harry and Meghan have been able to employ, and Charles would tell all his friends and relations, don't say a thing. Keep your mouth shut.
The popularity of that comment became a talking point of its own. Some people viewed the number of likes as a sign that others shared the opinion, while others emphasized that reactions on social media don't verify whether allegations or opinions are accurate. The discussion continued to highlight just how divided people remained over the claims. Why has this become such a big talking point? According to some commentators, these allegations challenge the idea that Harry was simply swept along by events outside his control.
It's ridiculous. Harry is just living in a fantasy world. He really is. He thinks he is someone who knows what he's talking about. He is the furthest person from any truth that I know, because he just lives in a life that is not even living on the same planet, because he thinks it's all about how he feels.
They argue that if the reported claims about an ongoing relationship were true, it could suggest he was making his own decisions instead of being completely influenced by someone else. That interpretation remains an opinion, but it has sparked plenty of debate. Supporters of this theory often point to the reported timeline. They claim that in early 2022, rumours began circulating online about a new woman in Harry's life. Around that same period, social media discussions also questioned public appearances and official announcements, with some users pointing to details they personally believed seemed unusual. Those observations remain speculative and have not been established as fact.
Meghan, it's achieved what she wants. It's once again re-established and maybe not been seen, but we've read the news story, that they're still part of the royal family. And that, I think, is what people find.
Oh, she didn't want to be part of the royal family.
Yeah.
She called them racists and everything else.
But Brand Sussex is entirely dependent on some sort of association. Hence the reason why when you see all her packaging for her as a...
According to various reports and online commentary, the alleged relationship later became more serious, with claims of additional messages, more reported meetings, and increasing coordination over time. Those allegations have continued to circulate, although they remain unverified. Financial issues also became part of the wider discussion. Some online commentators pointed to allegations involving the Invictus Games' finances, including claims that funds were unaccounted for, along with speculation surrounding sponsors, business partnerships, and media agreements.
Harry, not for the first time, has displayed little sense of the gravity of his words and actions. There will now be hearings as to costs, which could result in a sizable financial burden on claimants. Furthermore, in impugning the integrity of a member of the British judiciary, the Duke of Sussex has smeared the very legal system that is administered in the name of the Crown.
These allegations remain disputed, and there is no established public evidence confirming the broader claims being made. Supporters of these theories argue that these events should be viewed as connected rather than as isolated incidents. In their opinion, they form part of a larger pattern that has been debated for years. Some also pointed to the thousands of reactions on a widely shared social media comment as an example of how many people supported that viewpoint, while others noted that online engagement does not verify whether a claim is accurate. Those who believe these theories also argue that keeping multiple, significant matters private at the same time would require careful planning and consistent decisions.
Although independent in its operations under the authority of his father. This is regrettably part of a pattern. Although often professing a desire to escape from the royal drama, Prince Harry appears addicted to generating.
They point to allegations involving public image, finances, and personal relationships as examples of what they believe forms a broader pattern, while those claims remain the subject of ongoing public debate rather than established fact. However, those allegations remain heavily disputed and have not been established as fact. According to multiple commentators and unnamed sources referenced in various reports, Harry was not simply reacting to events, but was allegedly involved in shaping how certain situations were presented. Those sources argued that he was making his own decisions and influencing the public narrative, although those claims remain unverified. According to reports surrounding the story, the alleged discovery of the text messages became a major turning point for Meghan. Supporters of this version of events argued that it completely changed how she viewed the situation.
So that would be very interesting because he feels that Harry will have to pay a lot of money because it's all about him. So the thing is, I think Harry will get money from somebody else. You know, he'll ask his friends and see what he can get. Elton John will be the best one, I think, because he's got masses of money.
Some online commentators went even further, claiming Harry was not merely a victim of circumstances, but someone who played a much more active role. Those opinions have continued to divide public discussion. As the reported affair allegations gained attention, earlier online debates about pregnancy claims also resurfaced. People who had followed those discussions said topics that had largely faded from public attention were suddenly being brought back into the spotlight alongside the newer allegations. Even so, none of those claims have been independently verified. The discussion spread quickly across social media, with many women sharing their own experiences of pregnancy and childbirth. Supporters of the theory pointed to the large number of comments as evidence that the topic connected with many people, while others stressed that personal opinions and online reactions do not establish whether allegations are true. One widely shared comment reportedly collected nearly 1,000 likes. It stated,
But I think Harry has got to understand that he's behaved incredibly badly. And when I watched him, you know, on Invictus Games, it just made me very upset and angry that he could be dancing about and kissing sheep and doing all silly things.
Any woman who has had a baby knows she was never pregnant with Harry's children. The comment drew significant attention and reignited a debate that many people believed had already faded. But its popularity did not verify the claim it expressed. Supporters of these theories pointed to what they believed were inconsistencies, arguing that the timeline, public appearances, and other details deserved closer scrutiny. Others strongly disagreed, noting that such observations remain speculative and have not been independently confirmed. The debate continued to grow, as both sides defended their views. But for many people following the online debate, the biggest question wasn't centered on Meghan, it was about Harry. Some commentators argued that if any part of the broader story had been different from how it was publicly presented, he would likely have known from the beginning. They speculated about several possibilities, including long-running rumours regarding the children's births, but none of those claims have been independently verified. Supporters of these theories argued he was not simply an uninformed bystander. According to that viewpoint, becoming involved in matters of that scale would have required awareness and personal decisions. Those who supported the theory claimed Harry understood the circumstances and chose to stand by the public narrative. They argued that he consistently defended that version of events despite growing speculation online. These remain allegations and opinions rather than established facts. As discussion intensified, many online users pointed to what they believed were inconsistencies. Some questioned the reported timeline, while others argued that certain public details deserved a clearer explanation. Critics claimed those unanswered questions kept the speculation alive and encouraged even more debate across social media. Rather than directly responding to every rumour, Harry largely remained silent on many of the circulating claims. Some critics interpreted that silence as an attempt to avoid giving additional attention to the speculation, while others argued that choosing not to respond should not be viewed as proof of any allegation. Even so, the lack of public answers became a major topic of discussion. At the same time, the reported affair allegations were attracting attention, creating what some commentators described as an entirely separate controversy. Supporters of these theories argued that the contrast between the two situations was difficult to ignore. In their opinion, one set of rumours remained largely speculative, while the alleged relationship claims drew attention because they involved reports about identifiable people and alleged communications. Those interpretations remain heavily disputed. According to this version of events, that difference in how the controversies unfolded became a major focus of online discussion. Then, attention reportedly shifted once again. Unlike older rumours built mainly on speculation,
the drama before the low-key family meeting was quite the media whirlwind, so it's talking about Harry and Meghan meeting with the king. As I just revealed in these pages 3 weeks ago, on the condition of the reconciliation were that there be no cameras in the room, no briefings, and no Instagram posts about Jam or anything else. So Meghan, poor dear, was prevented from posting some more abysmal content.
Supporters of the theory claimed there was now another person allegedly connected to the story. They argued this changed the conversation because it involved someone who could potentially speak publicly or make independent decisions. According to that theory, Harry's attention may have shifted toward handling this new situation, although those claims remain unverified and continue to be widely disputed. According to this version of events, the earlier pregnancy rumours gradually faded into the background as attention shifted to what some commentators described as Harry's apparent desire for a fresh start. Supporters of the theory claimed the alleged new relationship represented an opportunity to move on from the life he had built and begin a completely different chapter. Those claims remain disputed and have not been independently verified. Reports also claimed that Meghan reached a painful realization after allegedly reading the messages. According to this narrative, she came to believe she was no longer as irreplaceable as she had once thought. Supporters of the theory argued that Harry had already emotionally moved on long before the situation became public, although that remains an allegation rather than an established fact. This is where, according to those following the story, the situation became even more complicated. The theory suggested that after discovering the alleged messages, Meghan may have wanted to leave the relationship, start over, and put as much distance between herself and Harry as possible. Even so, supporters of this narrative argued that walking away was far more complicated than it appeared from the outside. According to these claims, much of what she had spent years building had become closely connected to her public identity. Her recognition, public profile, and the opportunities associated with that identity were described as being deeply tied to the life she had created. Supporters of the theory argued that the situation was no longer only about the marriage itself, but also about everything connected to that public role. That interpretation remains a matter of opinion. From this perspective, the decision was about much more than simply ending a relationship. Supporters of the theory claimed it also involved questions about reputation, future opportunities, and the public image that had become a major part of her career. They argued those factors made any decision far more difficult than many people realized. According to this version of events, Meghan believed she was facing two extremely difficult choices. One option was to leave the marriage, but supporters of the theory argued that doing so could have meant stepping away from the public identity, recognition, and opportunities that had become closely associated with the life she had built. Whether that interpretation is accurate remains the subject of ongoing public debate. According to this theory, Meghan feared that walking away could also mean watching valuable opportunities disappear and seeing the public image she had worked to build begin to unravel. Supporters of this narrative argued that such concerns may have made any decision feel even more difficult. Those claims remain speculative and have not been independently verified. The other option, according to this version of events, was to remain beside Harry, continue attending public engagements, and present a united front, while privately dealing with a relationship that supporters of the theory believed had already broken down. They argued that every public appearance would have required setting personal feelings aside, making the situation even more emotionally complicated. Supporters of the theory claimed neither path offered an easy solution.
On her abysmal Instagram. To these strictures, and apparently humbled Harry agreed in a heartbeat, and he has been good as his word. So this again lets me know, and this is what I posited before, that Harry being the one who bended the knee in this particular situation.
In their view, one choice meant leaving behind a life and public identity built over many years, while the other meant maintaining that image despite ongoing personal challenges. According to this interpretation, that difficult dilemma became one of the biggest turning points in the story. This version of events further claims that Meghan chose to continue presenting a united front in public, even if the relationship had allegedly become strained behind the scenes. Supporters of the theory argued that maintaining appearances became part of what she believed she had to do, although those claims remain disputed. The theory goes on to suggest that Harry understood why Meghan allegedly felt unable to leave. Because of that, supporters of this narrative claimed he believed there would be few immediate consequences for his decisions. They alleged he continued focusing on his own life, communicating privately, and making personal plans, while acting as though the relationship had already reached its end. These allegations have not been established as fact. According to supporters of this theory, that dynamic shifted the balance of the relationship. They argued that Meghan's global public profile, recognition, and status had become deeply connected to her identity, making it much harder to step away. In their opinion, the very image that had once represented success eventually became what made leaving feel so difficult. That remains one interpretation of a story that continues to be widely debated. According to this version of events, Meghan had become so closely identified with her royal status that she allegedly felt there was no clear path outside of it. Supporters of the theory argued that walking away no longer seemed like a realistic choice because she believed she had too much at stake. Those claims remain speculative and have not been independently verified. The theory also suggests that her reported emotional breaking point was not caused only by the alleged affair. Instead, supporters claimed it came from feeling trapped in a relationship they believed was no longer working, while also fearing that leaving could cost her much of what she had spent years building. According to this narrative, that realization left her feeling powerless and uncertain about what to do next. However, supporters of the theory argue the relationship drama was only one part of a much larger story. Behind the personal issues, they point to what they believe is an even bigger question involving finances. One figure appears repeatedly in online discussions: $54 million. According to reports and online speculation, questions have been raised about Invictus-related finances, including allegations regarding missing funds and where that money may have gone. Those claims remain disputed, and there is no established public evidence confirming the broader allegations. Supporters of this theory argue that the financial questions connect many of the other controversies they discuss. In their opinion, the relationship drama represents only one piece of a much larger situation that has been debated online for years. According to this version of events, Harry's financial position also became part of the discussion. Some commentators claimed his finances had weakened behind the scenes, despite the public image presented to the world. They also argued that several high-profile business ventures did not achieve the level of success that had originally been expected, those claims remain matters of public speculation rather than established fact.
I didn't think there was going to be a huge public apology with a banner and smoke in the sky and all that. No, she wasn't that stupid. But the thing is, she did think that the king, because of the offer of the children, suddenly now it was going to shift a gear and she might get the gear that she wanted.
According to this theory, revenue allegedly slowed while expenses continued to rise, making it increasingly difficult to maintain a high-profile lifestyle. Supporters of this narrative argued that the costs of security, luxury living, and managing a global public image created constant financial pressure. Those claims remain disputed and have not been established as fact. The discussion also expanded to include questions raised online about Invictus-related finances. Some commentators claimed that veterans, financial observers, and others had asked whether certain funds had been fully accounted for. Those allegations remain contested, and there is no established public evidence confirming the broader claims. Harry's limited public response to some of these discussions was interpreted in different ways, with some viewing it as avoiding speculation, while others cautioned that silence does not prove any allegation. According to this version of events, the reported involvement of another woman then shifted the conversation in a dramatic way. Supporters of the theory argued that what had first appeared to be a relationship controversy became linked, in their view, to wider questions about finances, personal motives, and what they believed was happening behind the scenes. Those interpretations remain matters of opinion rather than verified fact. As the story spread online, supporters of the theory questioned whether the timing of these reported events was merely a coincidence. They speculated about whether the alleged relationship began during a period of growing financial pressure or whether the two issues were entirely unrelated. To support their arguments, they pointed to reported business setbacks, rising expenses, increased public scrutiny, and claims that several high-profile ventures had not achieved the success many had expected. According to the theory, another woman then became a central part of the discussion. Rather than describing her only as a possible romantic interest, supporters claimed she represented stability, new opportunities, and greater financial security. They argued the alleged relationship reflected a personal decision connected to those factors, although those claims remain unverified and continue to be widely debated. The theory goes even further, claiming Meghan eventually reached a very different conclusion after allegedly reading the messages. According to supporters of this narrative, she came to believe Harry wasn't simply looking for another relationship. Instead, they argued she believed he was searching for a future that felt more stable and secure. Those claims remain speculative and have not been independently verified. According to this version of events, the alleged relationship was not viewed as being driven only by romance. Supporters of the theory claimed it was connected to personal ambition, concerns about the future, and reported financial pressures. They argued that this realization was even more painful than the alleged betrayal itself because, from Meghan's perspective, it suggested she had been replaced by someone they believed could offer greater stability. That interpretation remains an opinion rather than an established fact. The theory also argues that this moment affected far more than the relationship. Supporters claimed it forced Meghan to question the future she had imagined and the public identity she had spent years building.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't really work out like that, as we now know. What's interesting, though, is that William, I can tell you this for a fact, knows exactly how to play Markle, right? And very quickly, as he pointed out to His Majesty the King, that this would happen, and now it is.
According to this narrative, everything she believed was secure suddenly seemed uncertain, making the situation feel even more dramatic. Once these reports began circulating, online reactions appeared almost immediately. Rather than focusing only on Meghan, many discussions centered on the identity of the alleged woman connected to the story. One widely shared comment stated, "Can't believe there's a woman on the planet who would want to get involved in this mess." The comment attracted attention because it reflected disbelief from some online users, although it represented only one opinion among many. Supporters of the theory argued that many observers viewed the reported situation as incredibly complicated. They pointed to ongoing allegations involving finances, public controversies, legal matters, and intense media attention as reasons why the story continued to generate debate. However, all of these interpretations remain based on claims and commentary rather than verified fact. Many people online questioned what anyone could hope to gain by becoming involved in such a complicated situation. Other comments shifted the attention back to Harry himself. Some critics described him as immature, entitled, and unwilling to accept responsibility for his own decisions. Others argued that he should not automatically be viewed as the victim, claiming that if the allegations were true, he shared responsibility for how events unfolded. Those opinions remain part of an ongoing public debate. For supporters of this theory, that became a major turning point in the discussion. They argued the conversation was no longer about choosing one side over the other or placing all the blame on a single person. Instead, they claimed both Harry and Meghan should be viewed as responsible for the choices that allegedly brought them to this point. According to those commentators, that interpretation changed how many people discussed the story, although it remains a matter of opinion rather than established fact. As the story continued circulating online, thousands of users shared their own views. Many argued that Harry should be judged by his own decisions, claiming that if the allegations were accurate, he played an active role rather than simply being caught up in events. Others strongly rejected that conclusion, emphasizing that the claims remain unverified. The sharp disagreement highlighted just how divided public opinion had become. Social media reactions reflected people's opinions, but they did not establish any of the allegations as fact. Throughout the discussion, William chose not to respond publicly. For many observers, that silence became part of the story itself. While speculation continued to surround Harry and Meghan, William largely stayed out of the public debate, and some commentators believed that approach strengthened his public image. Others viewed the situation differently, showing once again how divided opinions remain. What happens next is still anyone's guess. Will Meghan decide to take a different path, or will the couple continue working through these challenges together? Will there be any official response in the future, or will the silence continue? Only time will provide those answers, and new developments could easily shift the conversation once again. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Also, let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe there are more twists still to come? Or do you think this story has already reached its biggest turning point? We'd really like to hear your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next video.